This week on the Aviators, want to go really fast without a jet or a turboprop? We take a look at the Glasair 3. It's a general aviation classic, and we'll show you the newest version of the J3 Cub. And we're in Dallas-Fort Worth as we explore airport terminals.
Aviators.
One of the big advantages of an airplane is that you can get to places faster than you could on the ground. Even in general aviation, your average Cessna 172 can travel along at twice average highway speeds. But single-engine piston aircraft do have their limits. Outside of World War II warbirds, you're not going to find a whole lot of them that can go faster than 200 knots. And there's even fewer that you'll find that are home-builts. The Glasair 3 is one of them.
This is the Glasair 3. The first flight, I believe, was in 1989. It's a high-performance, amateur-built aircraft.
Bill Davidson is an aviation insurance broker and owner and pilot of a Glasair 3.
It's a unique design because it's strengthened to the point where it's good to 6 positive and 4 negative Gs. So you can do some very nice aerobatics with it. The reason I'm dressed the way I am, this is to honor Bob Henderine, who actually flew this airplane at Oshkosh on several occasions and did a magnificent job. And also for the gentleman who actually built this airplane was Harry Weber. Harry was a gentleman just like Mr. Henderine. Unfortunately, both these gentlemen are no longer with us. So in honor of their contribution to the Glasair, that's the reason I am the way I am, because Mr. Henderine dressed similarly when he flew air shows in the Glasair.
The Glasair is a home-built aircraft constructed from composite materials. Like many home-builts, it comes as a kit and is assembled by the owner.
It's just like a plastic airplane. You put the pieces together. However, with any kind of building, you have to be very diligent. You have to know what you're doing. And Harry, who built this airplane, did a magnificent job. Harry was a test pilot for Lockheed Martin, and then he flew for United for 35 years. So the airplane is equipped much like an airliner. It's got an angle of attack meter, it's got a great autopilot, it's got all the lovely things that you would need for a great cross-country airplane. And this is exactly that. It is a terrific cross-country airplane.
The lightweight composite construction contributes not only to the airplane's strength, but also to the Glasair's defining feature, the airplane's speed. With its clean lines and smooth skin, it's not hard to tell it's designed to go fast.
If you like to go fast, this is your machine. So if you're driving a sports car like a Porsche or Ferrari, and if you don't have one in the air, this is it. Well, this airplane will cruise all day long at about 220 knots without much of a problem. And of course, as you go higher, the performance increases because you have less air up there. Now the engine doesn't develop as much power, but you do go a little faster. My understanding at about 18 to 20,000 feet, there's a possibility you could get up to maybe 270 or 280 knots. That's right. I haven't explored that territory yet, but it's coming.
At 75 years of age, Bill has been flying airplanes for a very long time and has collected quite a number of hours on quite a few different aircraft.
Well, I've flown 94 different types. I've flown twins, I've flown singles, flown aerobatic airplanes, I've flown gliders, I've flown helicopters, and I have the opportunity to fly some military hardware. So I've had a tremendously interesting career.
This certainly helps when flying a high-performance aircraft like the Glasair, although you don't need to have flown 94 different types of aircraft to fly this plane.
If you can fly a Mooney or a Bonanza, you can fly this airplane. The one thing this aircraft requires, it requires attention. One of the things in this airplane, it has a very high wing loading, 29.5 pounds. So essentially, the airplane is unforgiving. Although in the stall configuration, it's very, very docile, But at the same time, the wing is a high-performance wing, and it has to be flown. It requires an airspeed to keep the molecules flying over the wing. So when you approach on this airplane, it's 80 knots. You can't come down to 70, it's 80 knots. You get down to 70, you're going to be sinking tremendously. So, and also, we never make shallow approaches with this airplane simply because if the engine fails, you can have a problem. So we come in high, and it's all choreographed, much like any airplane. But this one's a little more serious because it's a little more unforgiving. Whereas if you're flying a 172 or a Cessna 150, unless you have really suicidal tendencies, you can't hurt yourself. This one, you can hurt yourself.
For Bill, the primary purpose of owning the Glass Air is to get around. Now, certainly there may be other options to get you from point A to point B, but as you would expect from someone wearing a white suit and a red bow tie, a plane that goes fast and looks good is perfect for Bill.
I have a lot of aviation friends, and so I go to a lot of fly-ins, and of course the airplane is always, it's a standout. And people want to see it, they want to talk to you about it. Pilots are pilots. And I have numerous friends in the business of aviation, on the business side and the pleasure side. And so it's a delight to go to fly-ins and show this beautiful machine off.
There are many aircraft that can be considered iconic. From warbirds like the P-51 to stalwarts like the DC-3 or the C-130. Aircraft of all shapes and sizes work their way into our thoughts and our memories. When it comes to small tailwheel aircraft, the Piper Cub is definitely one of them. One of the few airframe designs still flying that is more than 75 years old, the Cub was one of the original two-seat trainers, long before the days of the prolific Cessna 150 or 152.
Most people learned to fly in a Cub generations and generations ago. I read a statistic that by the end of World War II, 80% of the pilots that flew in World War II had their primary training in a Cub. And then after that, after the war was over, generation after generation of people learned to fly in the Cub until really in the 60s, I think, when Cessna took over the 152 and Piper had the Archers, Cherokees, and more people learned to fly in it. And it's too bad that I didn't get my first experience in a J3 Cub because I missed out on something big. So thousands and thousands of pilots learned their first experience was in a J3 Cub.
Michael Wolf is the CEO of Sporty's Pilot Shop. An accomplished pilot, it wasn't until recently that Michael found himself flying a Cub, which Sporty's just so happened to be giving away.
Well, we've started giving away an airplane in 1986, and we've given away one or more every year since then. We've given away Cessnas, Pipers, and we've given away aircraft just like the Cub back here. So it's fun to give an airplane away, and when you do, you make a lot of good friends when you give them an airplane. They become a longtime friend.
Piper stopped producing the original J3 Cub in 1947. The improved and more powerful Super Cub was introduced in 1949 and was produced right up until the 1980s. With the FAA's creation of the Sport Pilot license and the light sport category of aircraft, the original J3 Cub found a sudden resurgence. The J3 happens to fall within the specification of a light sport aircraft. This means that someone holding a Sport Pilot license can fly a J3 Cub. It also led to a number of manufacturers using the Cub design for new factory-built aircraft certified as light sport, including the Legend Aircraft Cub that Sporty's is giving away. There are still original J3s flying, but aircraft like this are exposing a whole new generation to the fun of flying a Cub.
This particular Cub is our sweepstakes Cub we're giving away, and it's a Legend Cub. It's a copy of the original Cub J3 that went out of production in 1947. Piper quit making it. One of the most popular airplanes in the 40s. After all the GIs came back from the military, Piper kicked out a bunch of these airplanes because they all wanted to fly on the GI Bill, and it's such an exciting experience to have. So they made most of them in 1946, I understand. In fact, a wise flight instructor told me when I was getting checked out in the J3 Cub that If one shows up on your ramp, go out and look at it, and you'll find the year is probably 1946. And you know I did that, and he's right. Every one I've seen here on our ramp are 1946. But I didn't have a tailwheel endorsement and didn't fly a Cub until last year, but once I got in the Cub, I was hooked. It was beautiful, low and slow, very comfortable to fly, nostalgic too. There's a lot of nostalgia with the Cub, and I just enjoy flying it. We can open up the windows and fly around, watch cars go by on the highway, and just enjoy the real beauty of flying, where you can look down and enjoy the scenery.
Perhaps the biggest difference between the Cub and relatively newer trainers like the 150 or the 152 is the aircraft's landing gear. Part of the reason for small aircraft manufacturers to move to tricycle landing gear was the idea that it was easier to learn to fly on tricycle gear than tailwheel aircraft. While some people may debate this point, the Cub is still an excellent introduction to tail draggers.
No, it's got a nice gentle touch when you're flying it. You just use the stick, you can roll into a nice gentle turn and spin around if you want to see some scenery you want to take a look at again. So it's very, very easy to fly and very gentle. The only unique factor for me was, since it was my first tail dragger, it was unusual to land. I had to get that whole new sight picture in my head of what it was like. So my first few landings were pretty ugly. And luckily they weren't in the brand new airplane. I went up and flew a 1946 Cub. But finally, you know, after a while, you figure out what the sight picture is supposed to look like, what it's supposed to feel like, and then you start making nicer landings. And I didn't make good landings till I got experience in this Cub.
It's been said that aircraft like the Cub take you back to the roots of aviation. The aircraft is certainly not the fastest or most advanced aircraft that you can find out there, but for many folks, the simplicity of the Cub is one of its greatest attractions.
Well, there's a lot less going on up there. There's a lot less dials in front of you. You just got a throttle and a carb heat and a stick, and you just point it in a direction, and that's how you go. You might look at your airspeed from time to time, but you rarely look at the altimeter. So it's just so simplistic flying. It's just so simple. You just take off and just enjoy the flight. And it's such a joy to fly. It's so easy, and it handles very well. And the view, of course, is spectacular.
Hi, I'm Rob Ryder. Airports have traffic patterns to allow an orderly flow of aircraft to and from the airport. The basic traffic pattern is a rectangle with a runway in the middle of one side. Each segment of the pattern has a name to avoid confusion: the departure or upwind leg, the crosswind leg, the downwind leg, the base leg, and final approach. Aircraft entries normally flow onto the downwind leg, then follow the pattern to a landing.
From the earliest days of passenger flight, people have needed some form of structure or building to get to and from an airplane. Of course, I'm talking about an airport terminal. And while a lot has changed over the years, terminals still serve the same basic function.
So, the reason for a terminal is without one, you wouldn't be able to access the aircraft. And so now that you have this building and you have this structure, and for us here at DFW, having the opportunity to kind of build it from scratch, you have this opportunity to make it the nicest place for your customers prior to, boarding the aircraft on their journey.
Marianne Klein is a brand manager with American Airlines, who worked on the recent renovations to Dallas-Fort Worth International's Terminal A. DFW opened in 1974, and until this point, little has changed to the original terminal's interior. Much like American's late 60s livery, which has received a recent facelift, Terminal A has been rejuvenated as well. American has done extensive work at DFW's Terminal A to improve the customer check-in experience at the Airport Ticket Office, or ATO.
I think one of the biggest challenges, especially here at DFW, is just space. You do not control the space that you have to work within. So here at DFW, for one, some of the older sections were extremely narrow and security and everything was housed in that area. What we did here in this space was push back in the ATO space, replace the back office so that you could actually see all the way through. The individual kiosks are definitely giving us a sense of flow through the space. So I think, back in the days when there were walls of counters, you ended up with walls of lines. So what we've tried to do is open that space up and create a little bit more transparency so that a customer flows through our ATO space into security where they can then settle and rest here in the gate area. You'll also notice here in some of the gate areas you have very narrow gates, you also have very deep gates. So you're basically having to work with the environment the way that it was planned and doing the best for your customers in that regard.
The architecture of a terminal may vary from airport to airport. However, they're all going to have certain things in common. They all need a check-in area. They all have a baggage claim, and of course, they all have aircraft gates. A number of individual gates where aircraft park nose first is simply the most efficient way to situate a large number of airplanes at once. Anyone who has traveled frequently no doubt is familiar with the experience of waiting at a gate, hoping the battery on your phone, laptop, or tablet won't run out while you wait. To help make this experience more efficient and convenient, American has focused their time on improving the gate areas as well.
Some of the amenities that you're seeing here in the gate area are our workstations where you could recharge and get caught up on work prior to your flight. We also have gate-side kiosks where you can actually reprint your boarding pass. You can change your seat. You can put yourself on an upgrade list. You can purchase an Admirals Club ticket. And then again, just the embellishments that we've done with the overall boarding process to try and help streamline that as much as possible.
Without a doubt, most people who have spent some time flying about the country have experienced a gate change or two. You may have wondered why gate changes happen and who exactly gets to make that decision. Well, at DFW, American Airlines planners oversee the 95 gates at terminals A, C, and D.
This tower is one of like 6 at our other airports where we are actually managing the traffic on the ground. We have so many gates and we have so many different things that are going on at these, what are typically hub airports, that we know it's in our best interest to manage who goes to what gate. And so as the day evolves and things change over the course of time, if we're in control of that, then we tend to do a lot better.
Chad Hollander is a senior business analyst at American Airlines.
Every airport, as you know, has an FAA tower where they control the taxiways and the actual runways. What we have out here are painted on the tarmac, and you can see them. There's big yellow dots that had numbers on them, and those are what we call our exchange points. And so as aircraft land, what they'll do is they'll contact our ramp control, which is people in this tower, and they'll say, this is American Flight 123, I'm here for gate C2. And they'll say, well, use spot 24, your gate's open, but call when you arrive. And so then what they'll do is they'll get back on the radio with the FAA and say, I'm going to spot 24, how do I get there? And so there's this exchange point of where they control what's outside here, we control what's inside.
What flight goes to which gate is overseen using the gate management system, which shows the occupancy at a gate over time. Each line represents a gate, and each box or puck represents an aircraft. Flight delays or arrival or departure changes are automatically updated. If a conflict arises with 2 aircraft needing the same gate at the same time, an aircraft can simply be dragged to another gate.
Now what that'll do is it'll set in motion those different things that have to take place. So obviously with a gate change, you're going to have a catering change, a crew change, a fueling change. The people that actually work the aircraft when it comes into the gate, they're not going to one gate now, they're going to another one. So a gate change is a big deal, and we try to avoid them when we possibly can. If you think about everything that has to happen for a flight, there's connecting bags, there's fueling, there's crew, there's maybe an aircraft is late coming in, maybe there's a weather situation, air traffic control delays, all kinds of possible things that could create a delay. Now, especially for a hub like this, like DFW and some of our busier airports, you know, you're going to see those changes just because of the sheer number. It's going to happen. Now, fortunately, because we have lots of gates and because we build into our schedule the ability to adjust, then we plan in advance. we don't tighten everything up so that we can't make adjustments. And so we do plan for, you know, contingencies to make certain there's room to accommodate each flight.
While the gate management system helps to organize who is going where, American Airlines has a new patented system to assist their planners in getting aircraft from the exchange points to the gates and vice versa.
Vantage Point is the American Airlines patented technology used to manage the traffic on the ground. And so what we do basically is we for a particular zone that say a person is managing, all the flights that are coming into that zone appear in what we call the inbound queue. And so when an aircraft arrives, they'll simply touch it and bring it out to that designated spot of where they want it to go. The nice thing about Vantage Point and the power behind Vantage Point is twofold. One, it's tied to a real-time database. So as gates change, as times change, it is constantly reflected on the screen. Also, we use different sets of colors. And so we always want to be on time. We always want to leave on time. And so as we start approaching, as these icons start approaching those critical times, they start changing colors. And that communicates a sense of urgency, not only for our arriving flights to make sure they have a clear path to the gate, but for our departing flights. If I see that I'm within 5 minutes of a scheduled departure and I'm probably going to expect a push from that aircraft, then now I can start to plan the traffic in that area in advance and be more proactive versus reactive.
With this system, the planners can be proactive and account for things like two aircraft that are next to each other needing to be pushed back at the same time. Or in the case of terminals A and C at DFW, working around gates that share a central lane or alleyway that aircraft are pushed back into.
This alley can become very congested because obviously you have aircraft like this aircraft coming in here, but you have aircraft that are wanting to go. In fact, even here at DFW, aircraft leaving out of these high gates of 39 and C2, they actually get pushed all the way out there. So if I can look at my screen and see who's getting ready to leave and who's getting ready to come in, I can start to plan my alley traffic in advance. Now DFW has one alley that's like this that we manage. Chicago has 3. And so we're doing this right now in Chicago, and their alley management is going to be so much more efficient because that's all they do there is alleys. So they'll know who's coming in, they'll know who's getting ready to leave, and proactively solve that problem before it actually happens.
Vantage Point is just one of the many systems in place behind the scenes that passengers never see. Another new system for American is RampLink, a touchscreen system used to scan each bag that goes on the aircraft, ensuring that every bag actually goes where it needs to. While passengers may not see these technical improvements directly, they're an important part of ensuring the best customer experience possible.
Part of the new brand modernization work that we have been doing over the last 2 years is finding those opportunities where we can touch our customers throughout the journey and enhance it. So even here at the gate, we have an Admirals Club that people can go to, and enjoy that service. But what can we do here at our gate areas? What can we do in our ATO space to kind of enhance that journey for our customers? Obviously, their ultimate goal is to get to their location on time, but wherever we can touch that, touch them in a way that allow them to work in our gate areas, allow them to purchase Admirals Club day passes, here at our gates. Where are those opportunities that we can enhance that journey?
Seasons 1 to 4 of The Aviators are now available on DVD and Blu-ray. For more information on today's segments, visit www.theaviators.tv. From our official home at the Whitman Regional Airport in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, we'll see you next week on The Aviators.